Hi everyone, welcome. It's Kelly and
hey guys, Arthur. Welcome back.
With the Lupshas.
Episode 3, right?
Episode 3. Thanks so much for joining us. Today is going to be a little bit extra special because I'm actually going to interview my amazing husband, Dr. Arthur Lupsha. If you guys don't know, we are physical therapists. We've specialized for 25 years in the treatment of neurological disorders. Yep. And, science and research and learning about the body has been our jam.
Yeah.
We have a special topic that we're going to bring to you today because let me ask you a question. When you used to go to the doctor and the doctor...
I used to go.
He doesn't go anymore. I'm just kidding. No, but you guys, right? Like the first thing you're filling out your past medical history.
First thing, right? Very first piece of paperwork.
And the doctor asks you questions about like your family history and I always was scared, to be honest, because I had to check that box that my maternal grandmother had breast cancer. And literally, I thought that was going to be my fate. My mom has had some heart disease and heart issues. My dad passed away of cancer at the age of, 69. So I've kind of thought like, wow, will this be my fate? Well, I'm sure you've asked yourself the exact same question. So with that, we are going to ask some questions of Dr. Arthur Lupsha to find out, are you really at the mercy of your family's medical history? Because I think we all today still in the background think we are.
Yeah, Kelly, you're absolutely right. For most of us, we've been told all of our lives that, we're likely to walk the same path of our parents and our grandparents, right? We're likely to end up with the same heart disease issues they did. We're likely to end up with the same cancer issues they did. We're likely to pass away young because they passed away young. And the truth of the matter is that we're actually discovering, and science is showing, that's not true anymore. That you can actually alter the expression of 96% of your genetic code.
Okay, did you guys hear that? That means you out there, if you're listening.
You are in control.
That's amazing. And maybe you're like, oh, well, whatever, but it is true depending on your choices, the environment, how you turn your body on. And so I want Arthur to take a little bit of deeper dive because I don't think ever before people thought that. And maybe I'll ask a question like, Arthur, people are out there and right before the holidays, I always see it advertised, by your family member, like Ancestry.com, 23andMe, take your genetic testing, right?
Right. And really, are you taking your genetic testing because you're trying to find out, where did your family come from? What countries did you come from before you emigrated here to America or wherever you are around the world? Or are you trying to look at your genetic predisposition with relationship to potential disease processes? And yes, it is true that when the wrong genes are overly expressed or underly expressed, that you may
turned on or off.
Turn on or off, yep. You may have a greater predisposition to certain disease processes. But the great news is that you're not stuck with that fate. You can actually change how most of these genes are being expressed.
Okay, so that, you guys, we never knew before. Maybe today is the very first time you're hearing this. So you're like, what? I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're like, I know that. I totally know that. But what do I do about it? And I think in general, the most common thing people are doing is trying to take care of their health with diet and exercise.
Diet and exercise, super, super important. But actually, Kelly, there's this whole field of study that's going on right now about gene expression and what goes on to affect how our genes are being expressed, called epigenetics. And you touched a little bit on already of how the environment can affect it, whether it's pollution, toxins, whether it's,
like living a stressful life.
Living a stressful life, exactly. Poor sleep, exercise, too much exercise, not enough exercise, the wrong types of exercise.
You guys, that's all affecting your genes flipping the switches on, off, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
And some of it's positive, some of it's not so positive. And it's like, okay, how can we optimize this whole big picture, right? How can we actually get things working in such a way that we're optimizing, again, that health span that you and I talk about so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is possible to actually get in there and input the right information to optimize that gene expression.
So what you guys, are you even following us? I hope you are. And when we say gene expression, we're not talking about like your Levi jeans. We're literally talking about your DNA.
Yeah, we're talking about your DNA. So what I'm a car guy. I love my cars, right? And so what I like to make the analogy is that, your body is like a high performance exotic car, right? And if you put regular unleaded gas in there, it's not going to perform as well. When you're putting in high octane fuel, when you're putting in the race fuel in there, your car's going to run even better. Well, that's the same thing with our bodies. If we want that optimal gene expression, we've got to provide the right coding, the right information to our bodies to turn on those correct switches, to flip the right things. And yeah, food is the information that's coming into our bodies. But unfortunately, so many of the foods we're eating today, number one, they're just not as nutritionally viable as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, Kelly, you and I used to believe that, oh, we're getting our vegetables. Oh, we're eating well. We're avoiding fast food. We're not frying stuff. We thought that was enough. Well, then we realized, oh no, we need to take this to the next level.
And when we say take it to the next level, many of you out there, and we thought the same, that maybe we just should make sure we're supplementing. Like, what are we deficient of?
Or even before that, it was like, okay, let's go organic.
Right.
Right.
True.
Let's just, maybe there's better food out there. Let's go organic. Let's go grass fed. Let's, go to the leaner cuts of meat. That's really good too. But now, as you're saying, Kelly, even that's not good enough because the lack of nutritional density, nutrient density in those foods today. So now it's like, okay, what do I do? How do I supplement my body, right?
So when we say supplement, I think most people think of it like a pill, a vitamin, something that you take, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And most of the time people are going to the health food store, to Trader Joe's, maybe to Costco, Amazon, I don't know, and buying your stuff. But what I've learned is you get what you get. So depending on where you buy it from, the price might be determining, how clean it is. Are you really having, because most of it's not regulated. So do you really get what you're really buying? But on top of that, we're not even talking about supplementation, meaning getting your multivitamin or vitamin C or topping off the tank. What Arthur's talking about in gene expression is literally a field of activation. So tell us about activation.
So let me try to give an analogy to explain the difference between supplementation versus activation.
Okay.
So if you can imagine, your body is, each cell in your body is like a little factory, a little machine, and it's performing a function to get a product at the end, right? Well, when you're supplementing your body and you're taking your multivitamins or your calcium, magnesium, whatever else, and some of these things are super, super important, but we have to be sourcing them appropriately, okay? As Kelly was just saying. But when you're providing that raw material, more raw material should, in theory, lead to more end product. But if you only have one factory putting the product together, there's a bottleneck.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And even more raw material that one factory can only produce so many things at the end of it. Okay.
So you're limited.
You're still limited.
You're still limited.
There's like a bottleneck in the process.
Got it.
And you can have this buildup of excess raw material.
Your body doesn't even know what to do with it.
Your body doesn't know what to do with it, so you just start excreting it.
Okay.
You get rid of it. You pee it out. You poop it out, right? And that's why I was used to say, Kelly, why are you making me take these supplements? All they're doing is giving me expensive pee.
Right.
Right. My urine's changing colors. It's now orange instead of yellow. It's like, is this doing me any good? Because your body can only do so much when you have only one factory.
So is there a difference? Is there another option?
Now, activation. When you're activating your body, it's allowing your body to actually build more factories. So now you can pump in more raw material, and you don't just have one factory working, but you can have dozens or hundreds or thousands of factories all producing that end product simultaneously. Now your body is so much more efficient. You're producing so much more of that end product that you needed. And now you have little workers running around flipping those switches in your body, literally, turning on the right genes to do the right jobs, or turning down the wrong genes so they're not doing the wrong job, and you can truly be optimizing your health span.
So I think in simple terms, you guys, you're hearing that our bodies truly are like this miracle.
Oh gosh.
But the world we're living in today is hijacking us in every way. It's damaging, and it's turning down, it's dimming our lights. So ultimately, turning the power back on again, truly getting all these power plants per se working again, is getting us back performing like we used to.
Absolutely. Kelly, back at the end of the 20th century, so long ago, right? Science and research was really big at mapping the human genome, right? We really took a huge dive scientifically to understand what are our genes doing, and sequencing. We mapped them out. We know what those genes are and how what they're doing. But here in the 21st century, there's been a whole new field of study. Now that we understand the human genome, now we have been studying what's called the proteome. And the proteome is all about how our proteins function. So whereas your genome, your genes are the coding for a certain job, your proteomes, your proteins, are actually the worker bees that do those jobs. So if you want the job to be done more efficiently, you need more workers.
Okay.
You need more proteins doing the job. You need more proteins active. And although our bodies are miraculous and built so beautifully, there are some things that are self-limiting about our bodies. And as part of the aging process, the activity level of certain proteins starts slowing down.
Okay, which I think we would all understand as the aging process, right? That's why our skin might not be as firm today, right? Or you don't have quite the vitality or energy, or we're laughing because our son's going out to play golf for like day 6 in a row. He's like to be young again.
Oh, my back couldn't take that today.
He's only 18.
But what's really shocking is that although some of us are starting to feel this in our 40s and 50s and maybe in our 60s, and sometimes in our 30s, this slowing down process actually begins as early as your mid-20s.
Wow.
Yeah, where certain protein pathways start slowing down, start shutting down. And that's why there are so many people out there, especially in today's world, where, as you said, our environments are hijacking our bodies and breaking us down even faster. And we're seeing so many issues happening to people at such a young age. So the fact that we now can take control and activate these worker bees, these protein pathways, get more workers working, get more factories functioning, and really take charge of how our genes are being expressed again, is so impactful to the health span, and just something that we never understood that we had so much control over.
Wow. You guys, in this podcast, we never want to go to science, because most of all of us out there, we just want to no, give me the scoop, give me the dirt, right? I don't need, later we can go do research. But what I do want Arthur to talk about is, of all the protein pathways that he is sharing and that research is exploding, there's one that's really been top of mind. And as a matter of fact, Washington State University, they, a few years ago, came out with a literature review saying that this protein pathway, it's called NRF2 activation, okay? And the letters NRF and then the number 2 may be the biggest breakthrough in the history of preventative medicine that we're seeing out there. Is that correct?
Right. That's absolutely correct, Kelly. And
so just share with them a little bit about this NRF2 protein.
When that statement was made, it knocked my socks off. I mean, this was like shocking to me, a shocking revelation. So what is this NRF2 protein? And we're just going to use the acronym because the name of it is huge. We don't even need to go into it right now. But to understand that this protein is the master regulator of your genetic expression.
Wow. Okay, wait. I want you guys, if you were distracted and you had the radio on or you were cooking dinner, I want you to pause for a moment and hear this statement again.
Yeah. So this protein, this worker bee called NRF2, okay, is the master regulator of your genetic expression.
Okay, can I have mine turned on really high? I who else wants some NRF2?
Right, and what's crazy is you think about your thermostat in your house, right? Mm-hmm. If your house is too hot, you change the thermostat to cool your house down. If your house is too cold, you go to that same thermostat but you can now turn up the heat,
Right. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And it can work both ways,
Sure.
turning it
Regulates it
on,
up or down.
turning it off. The NRF2 protein can do the same thing with our genes, turning certain genes on at certain times, turning those same genes off at certain times, depending on what your body needs, depending on what's going on around you. Now, when that protein is not working well, it's not doing its job. So we've got to keep that protein in itself vital.
So like you mean the thermostat, like I feel ours in the house is struggling right now.
Because it's so hot outside, it's working extra time, right?
Yes. And so some of the time it needs to work harder. Some of the time it needs to work less. But as we age, you're saying that thermostat starts not being able to make those adjustments as needed.
As needed, exactly. Now, let's take this thought to the next level of
Okay.
not just like a single thermostat in the house, but what if you had, two thermostats in your house, because you've got one upstairs and one downstairs. You've got separate air conditioning units for each part of your house, right? Well, it's that same worker bee that's operating both thermostats.
And it knows when one needs to go up and the other needs to go down, or how much.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely. So this same worker bee is in control of hundreds of different genes in our bodies. And there are certain genes that control how much inflammatory response your body's having, because you've over-exercised, you had an injury, and a certain amount of inflammation is appropriate for the recovery process. But when you have too much of it, that can become detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
Or this same protein can turn on a group of genes that are responsible for how much oxidative stress and free radical damage you're having in your body. And if there's too many free radicals, too many bad guys attacking your body and creating more garbage, well, your body can turn up your own antioxidant response to get rid of those even more effectively than taking antioxidants.
Wow. And I just want to highlight one, you guys. And if some of this is, again, too deep, just think, do you want to take antioxidants, or do you want your body to make our own antioxidants? Because our bodies are much, much more efficient. And one of the antioxidants that our bodies make is called glutathione. Have you guys heard about it? Glutathione has been coined as the master antioxidant of the body, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we hear people all the time getting IV infusions of it. And but what I have to say is our bodies are just more efficient.
So much more efficient. In fact, just to give you like a little comparison here, guys, okay, you could try to turn on some of these pathways with direct antioxidants, meaning foods like blueberries, acai berries, vitamin C,
okay,
broccoli,
oranges.
Right? Oranges. One little activator could have the same effect as eating 360 oranges a day.
Oh my God. I mean, that's profound. One, I mean, who can really do that?
Yeah.
That's profound.
8 pounds of broccoli.
Don't come in the house.
Yeah, certainly don't sleep in the same bed with you at night, right? Or Kelly, 88 glasses of red wine.
Okay, I do like a really good glass of red wine, but 88 glasses.
Yeah, so I mean,
I think I'd be on the
generous
floor.
four glasses per bottle. That's $22 a bottle. Let alone you're probably going to be a little pickled. Okay, that would preserve you, right? You'd be well preserved if you were pickled. But that could be an expensive habit.
Wow.
22 bottles a day.
Is it realistic? I mean, is any of that realistic?
No, none of it is.
That's crazy.
So to be able to activate the body at that kind of level, really, really simply and easily, is truly amazing. It's wonderful. And wow, talk about making life easy, right?
Yes.
So,
I mean, I think we all know, those of you out there, we know we should eat well, exercise well, sleep. I mean, come on. But do we all do it every day?
Not really.
Not really.
Not
Okay.
so much.
Some days pretty good to the best of our abilities. Other days, I don't know what happens. We just don't. But imagine if you could prime the pump and get your body working optimally through this activation pathway. You just take an activator in the morning and like kind of, not that you have to still do everything else, correct?
Yeah, you can't ignore all the other things.
But it would be that easy to start optimizing health. This is amazing, Arthur.
Yeah.
Wow.
So really, guys, activation is one of the hacks that we've really incorporated into our lives, just to really take that health span to the next level.
Wow.
And honestly, we've seen such a tremendous difference, in ourselves personally, in some of our kids, and some of our friends and family that we shared this information with. So truly, truly powerful stuff. And this is cutting edge, guys. This is very, very new information. It's not widely understood, even at the level of medical providers.
Yes.
So I really encourage you, reach out to us, ask us questions, send us your questions, tag us,
Absolutely.
whatever.
I mean, ultimately, you guys, I want you to walk away with the understanding of it's a myth, meaning your family history does not have to be your fate.
Not at all.
It
Not
is
at all.
in your control.
It's in your hands, right?
That's it. Not only do you have the whole world in your hands, you got your whole body in your hands.
You got your whole health in your hands.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing wherever you found us on a podcast or YouTube. We really, really encourage it. Please rate us. Give us a 5-star rating. We would be so grateful. Anything we can do to answer questions, feel free to reach out. You can always find us at your favorite podcast. Again, you can find us on YouTube at The Lupshas. That's L-U-P as in Peter, S-H-A-S.
There's 2 of us,
or,
so it's plural. Yep.
Facebook or Instagram as well.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed it, and thanks so much for listening.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing you next time.